Hey, good afternoon. So, sorry, I had a few little technical difficulties. My laptop is not projecting, so they've got to get me a new adapter here. So he's going to be up on stage fixing that while I'm going through a few slides here to introduce the session here. So my name is Brandon Potter. I'm a principal product manager at Microsoft. I lead the product management group responsible for building Dynamics 365 for talent. My team is based in Seattle and Fargo, North Dakota, in the two different areas. So we're here today. I'm going to be covering kind of the high-level overview of human resource capabilities within Dynamics 365 Talent and talk a little bit about the roadmap. I'll do a demo. Hopefully my laptop's working here to connect to, of HR overview to give you that capability. I want to start out with just a couple of slides as everybody read this statement here. The statement here effectively comes down to most organizations have pain points with attracting and retaining their talent. This statement was made in 1998 and it still holds true today. Organizations are really struggling attracting the talent, retaining the talent. So over 20 years later, that statement is still there, along with several others. As we look at the gender imbalance challenges that organizations have, employee turnover rates are high. And another example here in the financial tech industry here, we have an increase in diversity and inclusion challenges as we look at the way organizations are still sourcing and not being, the inclusive challenges are fading. So how do organizations work across the challenges? These are all statistics that are out there from Gartner and others, but what really matters is what trends are impacting your organization and how do you understand what trends are impacting your organization? To look at a few other trends as we look and see what's going on here, trends impacting our employees, the percentage of 27% of our employees expect HR to be checking in with them regularly. 46% expect regular performance feedback. And 32% of them struggle every day to understand how to go take care of certain HR activities that they need to be able to do. Having a strong employee experience where your employees always know where to go take care of their leave and absence or benefits or manage their personnel records and information. 32% of employees struggle finding and identifying where to go do that, take care of those activities. From an organization's point of view, 56% of HR professionals expect that, 56% of the tasks can be automated from an HR professional to free up your HR professionals' time to be able to be more strategic in the processes that they need to do. 84% of business leaders think that they're rethinking the way that they do their workforce experience. Again, coming back to that 32% challenge, how do we help our employees get the work done, things that they're doing daily, quarterly, maybe it's only annually that they're doing it, but how do we streamline those experiences for them? Because of all of this, 88% of HR leaders today are expecting to invest in at least 2 to 3 systems within the HCM space over the next 2 years. Now, today we're going to be talking mostly about Dynamics 365 Talent, but I want to make sure that you understand talent is only a piece of the puzzle from Microsoft. When you think about how we solve these trends, how do we solve the problems and bring about digital transformation to our HR department and our employees, we need to think about the breadth of capabilities available for Microsoft. LinkedIn helping you in all of your recruiting, learning. They acquired Glint a little over a year ago to help in regular feedback and performance capabilities. Dynamics 365 for really helping you in your operational HR needs, driving your organization, personnel management, benefits, leave and absence, time and attendance, and we'll be going over that in depth today. As we think about the power and capability of Microsoft 365 and Teams, helping you unlock the productivity of your employees in a collaborative way, bringing those capabilities that you need, your personnel data, your people data, into those experiences. This is the work that we're doing to help bring this across all of all of Microsoft. Workplace Analytics, how many of you have heard of Workplace Analytics or played with it? It's an amazing tool that gives deep insights into the productivity, the way in which your employees work and behave, and the challenges that they're creating. How do we manage work-life balance? How do we manage more efficient meetings or other tools? Workplace Analytics can help identify and give you insight into those capabilities and then turn around and help you drive better employee behavior to help correct that. As we look at Azure, SharePoint, and many other tools across Dynamics to help you kind of build that out, build on top of that with Dynamics 365 being the center of your people and operational HR data, enabling it throughout all of those capabilities. When we look at the Dynamics 365 operations applications, Dynamics 365 has a wide set of capabilities across multiple applications. When we look at finance and operations, now Dynamics 365 Finance and Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management and Commerce, we have multiple primary industries. Manufacturing, distribution, retail, service delivery are those top primary industries. But they need the horizontal supporting applications like financial management, omnichannel commerce, and your human capital management. You need to have your finance and your people data right there to support your operations. So these primary applications can't live without the supporting applications. Now, the way we think about driving that operational excellence for HR comes in kind of 4 key pillars. First off, how are we enabling organizations to be agile, bring about the ability for them to automate tasks, enable the workforce insights so that you can unlock the challenges that you see and begin to transform and solve those problems. Lastly, how are we transforming the employee experience? Bring about the better experience for your employees, your managers, so that they're not spending so much time in these capabilities and they can focus on going out and doing their main primary job. So these capabilities are what I'm going to be kind of going over. I'll give you a demo of Dynamics 365 Talent and an overview from here. Let's see if it works. All right. So when we think about organizational agility, it's important for HR professionals to be able to have all of the activities that they need to take care of in a quick, easy screen. When I come into the personnel management screens or pages of Dynamics 365 Talent, I quickly see activities that I need to take. As an HR professional, I have employees coming, going, transferring, moving all over the organization, and I need to be able to take action on them quickly. So right here, I can see all of those various pipelines. I can see employees that need to be hired because they've gone through recruiting. They're ready to create their employee records. I can see employees starting soon, recent hires, exiting, and exited. As HR, I need to be able to take various forms of actions across these during these different periods of time for these employees. For example, I have Cameron here. He's been hired. He's accepted his offer. We can click on him and quickly and easily hire him and begin creating his employee record. I can assign his position. I can also come down and create an onboarding checklist for him. So what I'm able to do is set up a pre-configured template of tasks and activities that various people in the organization may need to do in order to help onboard him, Cameron. Maybe facilities needs to set up an office, IT needs to provision a machine for him, etc. I can have different checklists. I can assign multiple checklists that create a cumulative checklist for Cameron, and we can track that onboarding progress for him. I may have employees that are starting soon, and I just need to come in and fill out additional information. Maybe I need to come in and start setting up their compensation, their pay rates, verify an employment of somebody. I have these quick actions right at my fingertips without having to dig through multiple forms to take these actions. Now, beyond just the employees and the pipelines that I have, I need to be able to manage employee changes, see my open positions, expiring records. This is very important as an HR. It's our jobs to make sure that we're helping the organization remain compliant. If employees have certain records such as certificates, tests, screenings, probations expiring, we need to be on top of that to ensure that they can remain compliant in order to perform their job. So I can see all of these things right there. Additional information, I can see all the activities that I need to approve. Maybe I need to manage an address change, or there's an approval here that somebody submitted a leave or somebody submitted some request to change a position or compensation change for an employee. I can quickly get to all of these and be agile in my organization. As I drill into my employees, I can quickly see not only just how many employees, but I can get to the list of the employees, quickly find somebody and take a look here. So if we look at Alicia here, one of the things I want to point out, on October 1st, we launched a complete revamp of the employee worker form here. How many of you are familiar with the worker form in finance and operations or talent prior to this? Data effectivity is key to managing your employees. Oftentimes as HR, we are rarely working in the now. We're working as future data changes or past data changes just in time to get payroll in. In order to do those future and past data changes, it was frankly very painful before. Sometimes it would take 5, 6, 7 clicks to get to the screen in order to change a certain piece of data. What we've done is we've brought that all down to a single click, or a single form. I can see Alicia, I can see everything that I know about her. It's looking across all of time, it's looking across, in her work history, for example, if she had multiple employments, I would see these laid out like a resume. So whether she's worked for multiple legal entities or come and gone from the organization, I would see every instance in one screen. And within this card of each instance, I can take all of the actions on that particular instance of an employment. Same for positions. Maybe Alicia's moved through the organization. I can see all of her position history, where she's at currently, take actions on that assignment. And then as we look up in the ribbon up at the top, there are numerous actions that I could go take on Alicia's records here. But if you remember the screens before, there were hundreds of links across multiple tabs here that you could go do. We've actually, through telemetry, we know the key tasks that people are taking in the most common. We've cleaned up and really organized things so that it's much cleaner and you can get to the most common actions quickly, while still leaving it so that you can come into the links, come down here and get to all of the other activities that you do on a much more or less frequent basis. We've also brought the key information of Alicia right to the top of the screen so that you can quickly see some of the top information that you're looking for from an employee, about an employee right there without having to dig into any additional screens. So this was a big, complete overhaul of the worker form management in here, helping you bring and helping you optimize. Again, coming back to that agility and helping you work quickly. That's what we're trying to help enable HR professionals in. The other thing I can do from Alicia, it's important that we also have quick and easy access to managing our HR programs. With Dynamics 365, you're able to set up robust benefit programs, compensation programs, leave and absence programs. And from here, I can quickly come in and see and manage those plans. I can add a compensation to Alicia's record. I can come into leave, enroll her in certain leave plans, or request time off and enter time off for her quickly. So here I can see these plans, see them in action. The accruals would take place automatically based on the plans that she's enrolled in. So enabling all of these HR programs helps you streamline and operationalize your HR business more efficiently. Now, when it comes to enabling our workforce insights, it's important to understand the data. While we can have all of the data in the system, it's really not helping you unless you have all of the reports and data and insights into that data. So here, built into the application and throughout the application, we have a number of Power BI dashboards pre-built for you that enable and unlock all of this. So here I'm looking in the personnel management. I'm on this analytics here, and I can quickly just see data about my people metrics. I can come over and look at my workforce demographics. How am I split out by gender, by ethnicity, et cetera, and understand where I sit, where may I have challenges or problems that I need to go figure out an HR program to help solve in the organization. As we look across the modules here, I see everything that you've got from leave and absence benefits, learning. These analytics tabs exist in each and every one of those areas to unlock the insights for that area of your HR business. Now, as an employee and manager, it's important for me to be able to manage my team. So here, as a manager, I see my team. I can see Benjamin, Chris, and Kevin, current employees on my team. I need to be able to get to specific information, certain information to help them. More importantly, it's my job as their manager to help them in their career. How do I grow them? How do I help them obtain that next stage in their career of where they're going? From here, I can get all sorts of information based on their employee record. I can get to the courses they've taken, time off they've taken, any loan items, skills, and manage all of that information. I can see details such as how long they've been with the organization, how long they've held this position, et cetera, all right here within the manager's self-service capability. Now, as I look at Benjamin here, it is one of the things that, back to helping my employees grow, Benjamin, in the conversations that I've had with him in the one-on-ones, he's expressed interest in becoming a store manager eventually. He's currently just a marketing manager at the store, but he wants to grow to become a full store manager. So in order for me as a manager to help him, I need to understand where I need to focus in and help him grow. So what I can easily do is come in and select and run a skill gap analysis for any of my employees. So here's Benjamin, and I'm gonna go ahead and compare his current role to a store manager to kind of see where he sits. So it's looking at the skills and the levels on those skills that he currently has, and we see He has a little ways to go in his customer focus skill, but a long way to go in his sales performance capability in order to grow to be a store manager. So you can imagine, based on the complexity, you can set up multiple skills here, define the levels within those skills. Those can be put on the jobs, and they can be put on the employees so that you can do these comparisons and see where employees need to grow. Now, as a manager, this is great. I now know what I need to do, but I now need to help Benjamin grow in this. So what I'm going to do is I can come in to his record and just quickly come into the performance goals and maybe give him a goal that's going to help him obtain and grow those skills. Adding these goals then allows Benjamin to come into the employee self-service, see those goals, update those goals, record information and activities that he's done against those goals so that he can prove that. So the next time we have a performance review, we can go through and review all that information, update his skills, and continue to grow him to become that store manager. Other things I can do as a manager, and this is where we comes back to the organizational agility, helping HR free up some of those mundane tasks or tasks that they do on a repetitive basis. How do we allow managers and employees to be able to take care of some of those actions themselves? Here, as a manager, I can do other things such as requesting new employees or a new contractor to be set up. I can request a new position, time off, compensation changes, all from the single screen in the application. I can see all of the activities that I may need to do. I have two certificates expiring on my team. Maybe I need to help my team go in and renew their certificates and other information. Now, as an employee, I also have the same type of information available about me. I can come in, see my time off balances, request time off. I can see any work items assigned to me that I need to take action on, questionnaires that I need to take, etc. I can manage my certificates, sign up for trainings, schedule my next review with my manager, or go in and update that review, and see my compensation, etc. So as I come in here and request time off, quickly I can come in, select the type of time off I want to have. I'm going to take next few days off next week. I'm going to take PTO, the 20th through the 21st, or 22nd, and just specify how many hours that you want on each day. And you can quickly see down below, I can see that calculation automatically happening so that I can see my balances. We also have the ability for them to go in and you can enable it, that they can see forecasted balances so we can predict what that calculation will be in the future. So if they're looking to take time off 3 months from now, they can kind of make assumption that they'll have a larger bank in order to do that. As an employee, I also need to make sure that my HR has the most up-to-date information about me. I can come into personal information, I can update my address, contact information, etc., with most of these having workflow behind them. So oftentimes you don't want just any employee going out and maybe updating their image. Maybe you need to review that and make sure that that's appropriate. That can go through a workflow, through approval. Maybe the manager can approve that one, but maybe something like an identification number or something needs to be approved by HR or based on valid documentation that they've viewed to approve that. So full workflow is incorporated throughout the system to help manage all of those business processes. Now there's many other actions as an employee I can take. I can come over, I can see my benefits. I also have this performance journal. So we all go through performance reviews with our managers at least every year, I think. When we sit down to go prepare for that, oftentimes you have to think back over a period of time. What did I do this period? What have I done? What's all the collateral and activities that I've done to help justify why my performance has been good? We offer this performance journal for employees. What they can do is come in and basically create that performance journal and think of that as, I think a lot of people either have a folder in Outlook or a OneNote or a folder on their desktop where they're keeping all of this collateral. They can come in and actually just keep it right here. As we go ahead and create a new performance journal entry, I can link these entries against any of my goals, add it or directly add it to a review that's coming in, so I can link all of this data so that when it comes time to actually put that review together that I'm going to send off to my manager, I can quickly pull the data out of my performance journal, and right there I've got a nice set of justification and of what I've been doing over the last period. Now, one of the things that we want to talk about is extensibility. So when we look at the system here, there's other capabilities that you may need to do. To give you an example of how we work, we use the Power Platform for all of our extensibility. This helps you extend for those niche capabilities, or maybe there is a gap where maybe you guys do something different in your organization. What I was going to show you, we have the ability for you to take a Power App. So here I'm on the same employee experience. You see the My Information and the My Team tab. What I've done is I've extended and added a Team Viewer app here. Maybe I needed to allow my managers to be able to see identification types and information in this particular app. So I can come in, and this is a Power App running directly inside the experience. The manager can run this, see the additional information. Now, you can imagine there could be all sorts of scenarios that I could do with these Power Apps to embed and extend the application and add additional capability. In this case, this Power App is built based on a Canvas app with a Logic app behind it helping transport the data. We have a Power Automate application automatically created here. This creates, so I can click this button and send an automatic reminder quickly to the employee. So this was just built quickly by a member on my team that in order to demonstrate the power of the Power Platform and how we can extend Dynamics 365 talent from there. So that hopefully give you an overview of the capabilities across Dynamics 365 for talent, with all of the ability to help you manage your organization, bring organizational agility, help you optimize your HR programs, enable your workforce insights, and transform your employee experience. As we look forward now, I want to give you an idea of our roadmap and where we're moving and going in the future here. As we look at the future and the way that we sit down and plan and execute across the application, we kind of break it down into 3 buckets. First, what are we doing from a foundational standpoint? What are we doing to enable deeper integrations, deeper extensible capabilities, better user experiences, et cetera, across the application? So these types of capabilities apply to all features and all product areas. Next, what are we doing for the functional core? The functional core is that area. It's all of the core HR capabilities, leave and absence benefits, time and attendance, org personnel management, et cetera. Payroll's on there as well. We do not have payroll in the product, nor is that planned. Payroll is a partnership opportunity. I did a session earlier as a theater session with one of our partners, Ceridian, who we have an out-of-the-box integration with for global payroll, specifically US, UK, Canada, and Mexico right now, and eventually Australia. And so that's where Ceridian is strong in, but we are also building APIs in order to help you quickly enable that integration to any payroll provider as needed. As we look at where we're going in the future, this is about continuing that motion of transforming the employee experience. Where are we bringing an integrated employee experience, end-to-end scenarios? These end-to-end scenarios may be with first and third-party applications. How do we help you unlock your people data? Use that in your operations. In other words, an example, say field services or project, when you're doing resource management, resource bookings, you need to know about your people, you need to know about the skills and the certificates that those employees have. So how do we enable you to unlock that and automatically take that into consideration when you're automatically scheduling resources for those projects? So we're working across the Dynamics platform in order to enable capabilities such as that. Now, to get into specific features and where we're at, we're going to talk a little bit about the 2019 release Wave 2. How many of you are familiar with the way in which the Business Applications Group stages our releases? We have these things called waves twice a year. One begins October 1st, ends the end of September. The other one begins April 1st, ends the end of, April to September, October to March. Get my months in order here. So we just started, on October 1st, we had our virtual launch event for the 2019 release Wave 2. To go over the capability that we released there, we're continuing to build out additional capability in the Common Data Service. How many of you are familiar with the Common Data Service Power Platform? So Dynamics 365 for Talent is built on the finance and operations stack, but it's sealed off. It's not like finance and operations where you can do the extension points and run your own individual instance of it. It is very SaaS. We keep it updated on a weekly basis, ship features more on a monthly cadence. So following more of a SaaS model with Dynamics 365 Talent. But as we are built on the CDS and directly connected to the CDS out of the box, we are building up our footprint of getting more of the data from talent into CDS so that you can unlock additional extensibility stories. We're building out the extensibility story. There is a feature coming in just a couple of months around embedding additional apps in the application. So I showed you how I embedded a Power App in the application. Soon you'll be able to embed model-driven apps, third-party apps, any type of web apps, all in context so that you can actually pass the context of the employee record you're on into any app, not just a Power App, and execute that app with that all embedded in the same experience. We just brought this feature into preview. It's currently in private preview, but this is the ability to help you manage your environment so that you can move your data from one environment to another, copy that data back, helping improve that application lifecycle management story for talent. I showed you, as far as extending the core, I showed you the ability around streamlining the data entry and management of the employees. That was released on the 1st of October. And then we also released an API to help you build Power Apps in order to submit leave requests. So unfortunately, right now, we do not have a mobile app out of the box. That's coming in just a minute. I'll talk about what we're doing there. But the mobile API does provide kind of a stopgap for you to build a Power App so that you can actually submit the leave and absence request, and it'll automatically route through the workflow built into Dynamics 365 Talent. As we look forward into 2020 Release Wave 1, we'll continue down that march of incorporating more data into the Common Data Service. And then where most of our effort over the last couple of months and leading up to the 2020 Release Wave 1 is really in these two bullets right here. On October 8th, we announced 2 licensing acquisitions from two of our top ISVs in the leave and absence, sickness management, time and attendance, and the benefits management space. So while I showed you some of the leave and absence stuff today in the demo, we know that in order for global organizations to really be flexible in their leave and absence management capability, there's additional capabilities that need to be built out. This acquisition that we went through will bring and accelerate that motion to help us complete out a full leave and absence management module. We expect to deliver that in the 2020 Release Wave 1. We'll follow up with sickness management, more of a European need around management of leave and absence, as well as a time and attendance module for talent later in the next calendar year. Well, also in Release Wave 1, we will release the advanced benefits module. So we do have benefits management today. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability for organizations, for employee to self-serve on their enrollments, life event changes, et cetera. So that capability will be coming. Additionally, as we look forward in the innovation space, I talked about the end-to-end integrations. We're working with some of our sister products across Dynamics 365 to build out deeper integrations around first-party. We're also working with a number of third-party providers in order to help extend into those other areas of your HCM space that your core HR data needs to feed into. And we'll be announcing more to come when the release notes actually publish. So this gives you a glimpse into some of the stuff that we're planning for the upcoming release. This is just what we've kind of locked on. This list will probably grow by the time we actually publicly release the release plans in January for this release. But just wanted to give you kind of a glimpse into kind of high level what's coming. The next little bit, I want to just spend a couple moments and dive deeper into those 2 capabilities around leave and absence. Some of the capabilities that will come on top of that is the ability to suspend your leave. Oftentimes, organizations' policies don't allow you to accrue when you're already on a leave, or maybe you need a prorate when you start. If you start mid-period or something like that, you need to prorate those accruals. So all of the proration and ability to automatically suspend the leave through configurations will be available. When we think about the flexibility needed in managing our rules and our policies around leave and absence, they get quite complex, especially for an organization that is global, has multiple jurisdictions or countries' compliance rules that they need to take into consideration. So this acquisition is going to help us greatly accelerate the depth of capability that we have in this space, such as expiring rules, deeper configuration around how you carry forward and transfer those balances, leave and absence adjustments that you need to make, as well as allowing you to accrue based on their FTE. If they're a 0.5 FTE or a 1.0 FTE or whatever, you can do those calculations based on that, or their employment start date, and just more configurability around how we round those. The most asked for feature that we have from customers right now is to give a calendar view of people's time off. When are they at work? When are they not at work? For HR managers and employees all alike will be able to now see in a calendar view through the manager self-service, the employee self-service, to give you it'll helping you be able to quickly visualize the ability of your team, see who's there at work and who isn't. Lastly, many organizations also have programs around allowing employees to buy and sell their leave. So you may have certain windows of time when you open that up to be able to buy, sell, as well as there's a workflow approval process behind all of that. So these are some of the key features coming in this next release wave around leave and absence. The next, I'll talk about the benefits management. So when we think about enhanced plans, it's important that we can support complex rates and tiered structures in the way that we calculate those rates. Our current benefits can't support all these capabilities. So huge growth in the ability to nest those tiers, bring the rate tables to that, and be able to create bundles and programs. So maybe you have one program, different programs, benefit programs for different employee groups in your organization. You can now create those benefit plans within those programs, which helps in the eligibility and helps drive those. Qualified life events is very important. It's important here in the US especially, but other countries around the world do have the need in order to trigger certain processes. Maybe somebody gets married, has a child, something changes in their life that triggers the need to update their benefits. This will automatically be triggered. The employees will see it on the self-service. They'll get notifications that they need to go in and review their benefits based on that life event happening. This supports full future dated effectivity, so if the event is happening in the future, it'll automatically show up at the time that event occurs for the employee. It's integrated with the employee self-service and the new online benefit enrollment that's coming in the self-service capability. Online benefit enrollment allows you to auto-enroll with certain benefits. It also allows a kind of a shopping cart experience. So as employees go through that benefit selection process, they're basically putting their selection into a shopping cart and then close that out at the end. Now, many organizations also have flex credit programs that go with these, where they'll give the employees a certain dollar amount to go out and spend on their benefits, an allotment, et cetera. So we now can take these flex credit programs along with that enrollment capability and let them spend up to a certain dollar amount of the benefits that they want. So that's all managed. It supports all of the proration that happens. So let's say that the life event happens middle of the year. Their flex credit needs to go up by a prorated amount in order to account for that change that happened mid-year. It'll automatically do those calculations for them. So those are just a couple of a glimpse deeper into the capability around those acquisitions that we've acquired, with the first wave of those coming in that 2020 release wave 1 timeframe. That's April 1st is when that should be releasing. So we have about 10 minutes left for questions. Before we kind of get into questions, because I know some folks try to sneak out during question and answer, I just want to make sure, please go in and fill out your evaluation. Help me know where I can do better next time. Fill those evaluations out. There's more information on this session. You can go download the deck, the slide that I presented. You can get the recording of this session, rewatch that, share with your colleagues if you go to that URL. And lastly, we'll go ahead and just open it up for questions.
We're a project-based company, and...
Say project?
Project-based, okay, yeah. So I was wondering, when you create your employments or your positions for your employees, can you assign that to like a longer-term project or contract that we have? And can we see that kind of history if they move between projects, that kind of thing? So
Dynamics 365 Finance and those have the project management module. We have an integration with, so Talent is focused just on your people data, the core organization people management capability. That data integrates over to finance and operations out of the box automatically so that you can assign those people to specific projects over on the finance side, over in the project modules. So it's not done in Talent, it's done in the finance side after you manage your core HR capabilities in Talent.
Okay, and in terms of permissions, can we, like, if we have HR managers in our field offices running these projects, can they only see people in their particular projects, for example, or I guess maybe by company?
So it's by company. Right now you can actually secure by company. We actually are working on it wasn't a bullet on the screen, but one of the things we're investigating is how we can actually bring that security to be more granular. Maybe you need to secure visibility of certain employees by departments or different different organizational levels within within your company. So we are looking at greater enhancements around security, but today you can fully secure all the data by company so that only HR managers in company A can see those employees in that company. So
I guess I'll ask another question. So in terms of extensibility, you kind of covered how to like add certain things, but what about extensibility for like modifying or removing certain functionality that comes out of the box?
So the only thing that you can do to remove the functionality is to adjust the securities and just take away certain features using security management. We do have some things that are configurable where you can just turn it off, just turn a feature off per se. But between those two, that's how you disable features. If you want to actually go change the behavior of an existing feature, that is not supported because being a SaaS product, these are the capabilities out of the box. You can add and extend, you can't modify the core features that are shipped in the box. So I've had customers just turn off a feature and extend, do their own thing in place of it, but that's kind of about the best story from that standpoint if you needed to modify existing behavior.
And just to be clear on the open enrollments, that's a new feature coming in Wave 1.
Wave 1, 2020 Wave 1. Uh-huh.
But right now, are you able to at least put in benefits plans from the...
Yeah, so in today's benefits, you can manage all of your plans, types, and options for those plans and the rates. We don't support the rate tables and the more complex rate structures that you have with some benefits, but you can also manage the enrollments of we can drive eligibility based on different attributes from the employee and their position, which benefits they're eligible for, and then enroll them. We just don't have the employee-facing side of the enrollment, so you can import enrollments or manage it from an HR side, but just not from the employee. Yep. All right, next.
Hi. Also a question about granularity, actually, about task management. So the tasks that are in there, according to what I've found out, we have not yet deployed it, but we are in the process. It's more like an on and off thing. What we want to achieve, actually, is that we don't want everyone that are entitled to work with tasks can see all the tasks that's available there for an employee.
Okay.
Because we distribute a lot of tasks within the company, and you want to make sure that you only see your tasks and not the other tasks. Is that?
Yeah. So when you are on the main dashboard or your self-service, you only see when you go into your tasks, you should only see the tasks that are explicitly assigned to you. So when you're creating those tasks or those either onboarding, transition, or offboarding or business process task templates, you've got this set of activities that you need to do. When you configure those activities, you can specify that that activity needs to route to a specific individual, to a specific role or position, so that anybody holding that job or position would receive that task. And then when that's executing, only the tasks that are assigned to you should see. Now, as an HR manager, you go in, you can see the whole list because it's an HR, it's your job to kind of manage the overall processes moving forward, and that's the way it's currently designed. So that you may be seeing...
Do it on the template. Okay.
Yeah. And afterwards, I can show you and maybe dig into it a little bit deeper. It might be missing something in your scenario there.
Can this handle first-line workers?
Can we handle first-line workers?
Yeah, that not necessarily have an account.
So first-line workers, all access to the system is managed through Active Directory, Azure Active Directory. So they would need an AAD account in order to manage their record and log in as an employee. So you would have to look at some of those lower-level frontline SKUs that Office has in the AAD area in order to enable those at the lowest cost.
Is the solution contains public recruitment site, so candidates can apply CVs over the internet?
Yeah, so Dynamics 365 Talent, I was focusing today mostly on the core HR side of the house. We do also have an app called Attract and Onboard. Attract is a recruiting solution. Where if you look across Microsoft, though, I was back to that slide where I had LinkedIn, Dynamics, Workplace Analytics, et cetera. LinkedIn also has a number of tools in your recruiting scenario that you should also look at. We're working with LinkedIn to bring tighter integrations into those tools with the core HR as well. So there's a couple of different options through either the Attract application in Dynamics, or you can actually look at what LinkedIn is offering as well.
Are these features coming to the HR modules in finance and operations? Specific
No,
work on it?
so if you look at Dynamics 365 Finance and Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management, there is an HR module over there. That was actually the predecessor to the core HR stuff that I just showed you. We split the code, stood it up as its own application, and have extended the capabilities greatly. We are not investing in the HR module in finance and operations at all. That is as is, basically. We support it, but we don't invest any additional capabilities. So if, Dynamics 365 Talent is the future for your HR operation management, so you should always be looking at there first before rolling out the HR module in finance and operations. Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have an integration, so if you are managing your people in talent, that data flows through CDS and automatically over to get your positions, your jobs, your employees, and that information over to finance and operations to support your operational activities that you need that data for.
Hi. We saw the leave management. Is there like a time sheet management?
So is there a time management as well? So time and attendance is one of the pieces that we acquired through an acquisition that will be coming later next calendar year. So when I talked about that, we acquired leave and absence, sickness management, and time and attendance. We're starting to roll that out in phases, so we're working on the leave and absence stuff first. We'll work on the time and attendance and bring that into the product later on next calendar year. So hopefully you'll start seeing that around the Wave 2 timeframe coming into the application. If you look at the entire Dynamics portfolio though, finance and operations project, they do have some time and attendance modules. They're geared at really operational time and attendance. So understanding time booked to projects, time to material and projects. It's not that full time that HR needs to know, in other words, to drive your payroll. The time and attendance that we'll be bringing in also helps manage any of the overtime calculations that you need to do. So if you book, in the US, so just the basic situation, 44 hours, it'll spit out and be able to export a file to payroll that'll give you 40 hours of regular and 4 hours of overtime. So you can configure and do all those calculations. But that'll be coming hopefully in Wave 2 of next year.
And what about, do you have any module for the like a hiring process, like a posting the job?
So that's the part to the other gentleman's question.
And the interview process.
Yeah, so the whole recruiting process as a whole. We have Attract, which is an application in Dynamics 365 as well. But we also have LinkedIn has a number of solutions in that area. That's where LinkedIn is growing on a number of fronts. So you can look at a couple of different options there. So Microsoft as a whole does have a couple of options around recruiting that can help, and we're working on integrations into Core HR as well in that front. So,
All right, thank you.
yeah. We have 2 more minutes, so yeah, go ahead.
We have multiple offices and multiple HR managers, each manage geographic location. Can I split the jobs so some jobs are seen by an HR manager and say another set of jobs seen by another HR manager?
When you say jobs, do you just mean like data in general, or are you meaning like
No,
specific?
The jobs in HR, because I know these are shared across all the companies.
Jobs and positions are shared until they become assigned to an employee. Jobs are always shared. So jobs do not get assigned to any one company. And right now, because they're not company bound, the security doesn't lock those down. So everybody can see all the jobs. And then your positions are shared as well. But what you do is when you assign those to an employee, that will lock down because that employee has an employment in a given legal entity. And that's how that security will happen once it's assigned to an employee. So, yeah.
The personnel management.
Mm-hmm.
If you hire somebody, is there something that you can trigger so it automatically creates an AD account, an Exchange account?
Yeah.
cetera?
So are we integrated with Active Directory and other? We're not today. We do have an ISV that has a really great solution that actually plugs in and does that automatically. That's something we are looking at as a roadmap item. Highly asked for feature though.
And the other thing was like PeopleSoft. If all your data's in PeopleSoft now, is there any integration from PeopleSoft through Microsoft? That old data into.
You mean to move your data from? There's not an integration direct with PeopleSoft. So just as with any implementation, you would have to get your data out and bring that over as a go live process as an implementation. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so we're at time there. I can hang around if there's any other questions that you have, or maybe didn't want to come to the mic for their questions, but I appreciate you guys coming this afternoon and learning more about Dynamics 365 talent. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.